Hey everybody, Jack Acid here with our third episode of our Season Challenge F1 2012 series, and we are just now accepting our contract offer from Toro Rosso after defeating Jean-Eric Verne as our rival while we were with Caterham, and that was good for the first two races of the season. Now we're beginning the third here at Silverstone, and gonna have to select a new rival before we can move on. Feeling kind of aggressive, gonna go ahead and go after Grosjean in the Lotus, and hope that I could take his seat, and that would give me a chance to maybe race for two top teams before the season is out, assuming I don't lose to a rival. But this could potentially be more than I can handle. Not exactly sure what kind of pace the Toro Rosso will have. We'll find out here in qualifying, starting off here, and just going to kind of scan through the lap. And you can see in turn one I'm already well off the pace from the pole position leader. Not surprising because I am in the Toro Rosso, but am trying to minimize that gap so I can get as good of a position as possible. And you can see I get my lap all wrong right there, going way too wide at the hairpin. That is a very tricky hairpin, and it cost me dearly all the way back into P18 right in front of my teammate, but at least I was close with my teammate, so I can't feel too bad, I guess. So starting off here at the British Grand Prix, and I have not gotten around to checking out custom setups online, so sticking with the default setup for now. And that's actually a good thing. I want to see what kind of pace I have with the default setup. Might as well get that out of the way when the game is new, and we'll have some time to tinker later on. So you may notice that I'm actually racing with the offset camera view, offset TV pod view rather, and that's unusual for me. I usually race cockpit view. This is actually at the request of a subscriber who wanted to see an entire race using this view, so I thought why not. So now close contact there with Kovalainen, and now Petrov falls back, and the Caterham's almost costing us dearly there in turns 1 and 2. Now coming up on this hard right, bunched up hairpin here and trying to make up some ground, trailing Kobayashi, and there's Bruno Senna, and now wheel to wheel with Maldonado, and he is pushed off. We make contact there, and now competing with Sergio Perez, and he fishtails, more contact. And in the early goings of this one, it's looking more like a bumper car session, and part of that is my fault. I'm not quite used to the sensitivity of this view as we sweep around here to this left-hander, and more contact there with Perez, and our wheels almost lock, and more contact. And this is the corner that cost me dearly in qualifying, and no warning from the stewards. And I was about to say that my sensitivity with my thumb control, because I am using a 360 controller, is significantly different than with cockpit view. A little more forgiving in my opinion, a little more twitchy here in third person, so I apologize for the messy opening lap here. As now Perez is making a move on the outside and is able to get around, and realizing now that I should not be breaking through the start of that sweep at all. Probably can just de-accelerate, so that's going to cost me time with the Sauber. And now Maldonado and the Williams is very anxious to get around as we come down the very long straight, and you can see he's making a move on the inside, going to give him plenty of room. And let's see what happens here at the braking point. See if we can lock onto his gearbox and make a move on the inside, and I can't quite get around him. Our car was literally locked there. Very, very strange, and now trying to get around him at the chicane, dropping down into first gear, and able to make a move to regain the position, and come around here to the end of the first lap and start of second. So a spirited opening lap for sure, and hoping that the race goes a lot cleaner than that lap went. But and I hear a spin out. Someone's gone off track from behind, and I'm just now noticing that my rival Grosjean is all the way back into 23rd. So part of the aggressiveness on my part in that opening lap was thinking that I had to get up closer to P8 or 9, and somewhere along the way I missed it. But Grosjean went off track, so we are in very good shape here in lap 2, and that's probably just going to mean that we just need to keep it on the rails and keep it clean. And we should get an easy victory. We'll have to go back and look at the replay and see what happened. As you can see, I go very wide at the hairpin, and the reason for that is twofold. First of all, my entry point is terrible. I'm coming in from the wrong side of the track, or not far enough from the left. And the second problem that I'm having is that I'm just giving it a little too much gas right when I make my turn there. So still trying to learn my lessons as we come around here, nearing the third sector of lap 2, and applying what I learned from the first lap, not to brake coming into that, just to sort of de-accelerate and going much quicker through it. But now you can see that Bruno Senna is trying to get around me there. AI very quick through there, and you can see the train of cars behind me Fortunately, I do not see my rival anywhere, so we're in good shape in that respect, but Bruno Senna's having a look on the outside here. And again, my entry point on that corner is way off. That's actually one of the more difficult corners on the circuit for me. Now wheel to wheel with the Williams, and let's see who has the medal here at the chicane, and able to stay in front of Bruno for now. But definitely still trying to get my controls down. Again, the sensitivity in this view is a lot different than cockpit view, so that's part of my problem here, and I hope you guys can bear with me. But it's actually fun. I really like third person. I should race with it more just to get better at it because I do enjoy it. But I've been racing in cockpit view for the better part of 8 months, and it's just sort of the habit now at this point. So I might switch it up off and on. We'll see how things go. But first, I've got to worry about finishing this race here in lap 3. And you can see that the gaps have expanded a little bit. And I've never had a great deal of success at Silverstone. I'm not sure what my problem with it is. Like I'm not handling this corner particularly well as I take out the pylon, no damage to the wing, and again at this hairpin, making things very, very lucrative for Senna behind in the Williams, but he's not able to make a move. And I'm a little surprised by the AI in situations like that. It seems like 2011 might punish you a lot more for mistakes like that. And but this seems a little more forgiving, although I have found that the qualifying times almost seem harder to achieve. And the race seemed to be a little bit easier, but they're definitely very engaging, that's for sure. Very exciting here as we try and stay ahead of the Williams. And coming along this long straight, let's see if Bruno makes a move. And right now, not going to make it happen. And again, that's a little surprising given that this is on hard, which I believe is professional. I'm not exactly sure. When you select hard in the season challenge mode, I'm not sure if the AI is what it's supposed to be. I believe it's set to professional. But you can see here that chicane should normally be able to take that in second gear and drop it into first just to make sure I don't go wide. And now at the beginning here at lap 4, as you can see, Alonso sets the fastest lap of the race, and I'm losing time. Still haven't had an exceptionally good lap yet. And generally speaking, when I pick up this game, it takes me probably 7 to 8 laps before I can feel really, really comfortable on a circuit. So right now you can see I'm kind of babysitting everything and just making sure that I don't make any mistakes, even though I'm going a little bit slower than I'd like to. But as you can see by the trail of cars behind, it doesn't seem to be costing me a whole lot in the way of building up a gap. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I feel like I'm stealing one given the fact that based on qualifying, I should be way behind Grosjean. As you can see, I make my worst mistake that I have the entire race here at the hairpin, and that finally does cost me P11 to Bruno Senna in the Williams. So now all of a sudden I'm wide awake, and I want to get aggressive here. And you can see that my pace with Senna is pretty good as we come around here to this sweep. Going to give Bruno room, and he goes a little bit wide off onto the curb. And now wheel to wheel, and Senna comes into me. It doesn't push me off track or anything, but definitely swung into me, and maybe a little bit of revenge for the opening lap. Hard to say, but no harm, no foul, able to get the position back. But now you can see he is very keen to get around me. And I can see now that Grosjean is about 6 cars back, so not going to be too concerned about keeping Senna behind me if things start to go wrong. A lot more interested in just keeping it on the rails and making sure that I finish ahead of the Lotus. One thing is clear, and that is that I'm not going to get into the points. The P10 car is long gone, and short of a mechanical failure of some kind, there's no way I'll be able to do that. And that's actually something that I have noticed with this game, is I tend to see more problems with the AI cars. More collisions, and I have seen a couple of car failures already, which was a lot more sparse in 2011, so it's nice to see that because that's a lot more realistic. It's sort of unusual for every car to finish a race, and it's nice to see what happens once in a while. And now you can see that I'm getting my lines all wrong here on lap 5, and again, not too worried about it, but now you can see that looks like Grosjean's made up a little bit of ground and is pretty close behind. If I had a significant problem going off track at this point, it's very, very possible that he would be able to get around. He is the caboose in the train of cars that I'm holding up, so definitely want to keep things clean. So now coming along here, and usually the AI is pretty slow through here. As you can see, the gaps expand, and that's going to help me as we head into the last part of the race. And you can see that I'm starting to lose my focus a little bit, clip the lawn there. And right now going to go ahead and try and get through these sweeps as quickly as I can, feeling pretty good on them as I go a little bit wide. And just as I think that I've got him down, I start to go off track, and Senna was licking his chops there. And let's see if he finally is able to make a move down here along the straight, and you can see that I'm holding pretty good pace over him. That's rather surprising, and trying to adjust my brakes, you can see I get it all wrong and adjust them to the rear. I was actually meaning to adjust them to the front. Wanted to test what would happen if I went through that corner that I struggle with. I struggle with my braking point there. Wanted to see if I could feel a difference by setting the brakes to front, but it ends up being a moot point as we come around to the finish line, and we are able to get into P11 and able to steal one from Grosjean in the first race of this rivalry. So feeling very, very grateful about that. Let's take a quick look at the finishing results here. And there you can see that my teammate finished in P15. And Grosjean, again, I'm not sure what happened. Going to have to take a look at the replay. Something happened to him in one of the early corners because he was out of the race early on. But I'll take the result, that's for sure. Looking forward to moving on to the next race, which I believe is Montreal. And traditionally I have pretty good success at Montreal, although I did have more problems with it in 2011 than 10. And here you can't actually see it, but Grosjean was forced wide right there. Remember early on, Petrov slowed down all of a sudden, and there must have been some kind of contact there with the Lotus. And of course that was all unbeknownst to me. I was too busy trying to get up about 10 spots or so to have a chance to get ahead of him sometime in the race, and that was never necessary. So hopefully things go a little bit cleaner in Montreal. In the meantime, if you're bored, feel free to check out my channel. I've got a number of F1 2012 videos, as well as F1 2011 and Forza 4. And that should keep you occupied until the next time. So thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you soon.